you want to lose weight in 2025 and keep it off, you need to do 7 things, and I'm going to explain them all to you right now. The research shows that 95% of people who lose weight gain it all back, and I've coached 5,000 women over the past decade to lose weight and actually keep it off, and they all followed the same 7 steps. So if you want to be able to lose weight without gaining it all back and be part of the 5% club, then here's the 7-step roadmap for lasting fat loss. First up is a calorie deficit, because this is the principle of losing weight. If you've ever lost weight in the past, it's because you've been in a calorie deficit. It doesn't matter what diet or method you've tried, that method has got you to adhere to the principle of weight loss, which is a calorie deficit. Now that we understand the principle, we can start to focus on the methods, because the method is what helps us adhere to the principle. What we have to remember is that if you're not losing weight, this is your body giving you feedback that you're not in a calorie or energy deficit. A lot of people like to get emotional about this and say it's the scales, or it's my hormones, or it's something else. But the more objective we can be about it and be like, hey, I've not lost weight for 2 weeks, I mustn't be in a calorie deficit. And then we can start to go, hey, okay, well, what's wrong with my method or strategy that's not allowing me to adhere to the principle of weight loss, which is a calorie deficit? Now, 2 extremely common mistakes that I see people make is, first, people wildly underestimate their input. It's somewhere between 50 and 100% more calories than people realize. So that means if you think you're eating 2,000 calories a day, you could be eating 3,000 to 4,000 calories without realizing. And I am not shitting you. This is so common, and we see it with all of our clients all the time. Now, the way to get around this is to actually track your food for a period of time. And this can just be a couple of weeks. It doesn't need to be forever. And the reason this becomes so important is that tracking your food ends up becoming a bit of a planning tool. You end up planning your food out, planning your calories out, planning your days out. That increases success so much more. But it also educates you about like how many calories are actually in the food that you're having on a day-to-day basis. And trust me, there's not a single person I haven't done this with and isn't shocked by the end of a couple of weeks, like, oh my God, I'm eating like an extra 1,000 calories and I didn't even realize. Second, people wildly overestimate their output and just think they're a lot more active than they are, and they aren't. So this can give people the wrong calorie goal, which again, if we're consuming too many calories, we're not gonna be in a calorie deficit. That's not gonna help. Lucky for you guys, we've actually got a calorie quiz that you can access in the description. It's going to ask you questions like your age, your height, your weight, your activity levels, your estimated body fat, and then it's going to give you the perfect calorie goal and protein goal to make sure that you're losing weight consistently. Next up, we've got sleep. And I'm sure you're thinking, what's sleep got to do with me wanting to lose weight or lose fat? Well, actually, quite a lot. Now, we all know if we have a bad night's sleep, just how bad we feel, but do you actually know how bad it could be for losing weight and losing weight consistently? So first, when we're tired, our cravings skyrocket. We're after that fast-acting food that's got sugar in, sugary drinks, food that's going to give us a boost and give us a hit. So we typically are going to overconsume on calories when we're tired. Not only that, when we're tired, do we think we're going to be more likely to skip a walk or a workout or just in general move less? Of course we are. So if we just look at both of those things, we're now consuming more fast-acting, calories and sugars, and we're also moving less. Both a real negative for being and staying in a consistent calorie deficit. Not getting enough sleep can also mean that you'll lose muscle. So I've got a study here from the Annals of Internal Medicine where people were put on the exact same calorie deficit, but one group slept for 8.5 hours a night and the other only 5.5. Now, both lost a similar amount of total weight, but the sleep deprived group lost way more muscle and way less fat. In fact, their fat loss was cut in half. I'll just tell you that again, it was cut in half because they got 3 hours less sleep per night. So yeah, if you care about keeping muscle and burning fat, sleep isn't optional. So how much sleep do you need? You really need to be getting somewhere between 7 to 9 hours, and really for women, like 8 to 9 hours. And I know how difficult that can be if you've got small children, but making sleep a priority is extremely important, not just to make sure that we're successful with losing fat and losing weight, but just for your general health. Now, it's not just about the quantity, it's also about the quality too. So things that we're gonna want is a dark, cool, and quiet room. And then one of the most important things you can do to make sure that you're getting great sleep is to keep a schedule. So we have something called our circadian rhythm, also known as like your body clock. And if you go to bed and wake up at the same time each day, this is gonna really help get your circadian rhythm in sync, and you're gonna get better quality sleep. You can also implement something called the 3-2-1 method to improve the quality of your sleep. So this is 3 hours before bed, no food, 2 hours before bed, no liquids, and 1 hour before bed, no screens. And I'm really looking at you guys that are on on your phone in bed every single night. Get your charger, put it on the other side of the room, and charge your phone on the other side of the room. It is one of the worst things you can do for the quality of your sleep, is to lie in bed of a night and scroll and watch videos. Don't do it. Next up, we've got whole foods, and I will just keep telling people to eat more whole foods until the evidence says otherwise. I'm going to be saying whole foods, whole foods, whole foods. It is the #1 common denominator of all the people who live the healthiest lives across the whole globe. It is extremely important. We need to be eating more whole foods. But when it comes to fat loss and weight loss, the reason it becomes so much more important is that, one, the foods are a lot more satiating, and two, we actually burn more calories off eating whole foods versus ultra processed foods. In fact, it's about 50% more calories are spent on the thermic effect of foods, so the digestive process, than eating ultra processed foods. Now look, I'm not one of those ball bags on the internet that's gonna say, you know, you can only eat whole foods and you've got to eat super clean. Like, that just isn't reality for anyone I know, and it isn't practical either. So what we advise is that 80%, the majority of your diet, 80+%, comes from whole, nutrient-dense, minimally processed foods. And then 20% can come from a little bit of what you love, you know, some pizza, some chocolate, some ice cream, and this makes it so much more sustainable while getting all the health benefits. Now, an easy way to understand if something's a whole food is to just ask yourself this one simple question: did that food exist 250 years ago? If it did, it's very likely going to be a whole food, and if it didn't, it's likely not. Next up is the most underrated form of exercise. It's walking, and the reason it's walking is because so many people just overlook walking as if like, well, that doesn't do too much. I'd rather go to the gym and work super hard for 60 minutes. That isn't what you need to do, and not when it comes to being successful with long-term weight loss and long-term fat loss. Now, if you're doing 3,000 to 4,000 steps a day and you take your step count up to 7,000 to 8,000 steps a day, you will actually reduce all-cause mortality, so the risk of dying from anything, by about 50%, and you'll be burning a couple of hundred extra calories every single day. Now, most people when they go to the gym aren't even burning a couple of hundred calories. You can do that just by taking your step count from 3,000 to 4,000 to 7,000 to 8,000, and it's super low effort and high return. Like, think about going to the gym every single day to burn a couple of hundred calories. You've got to pack your bag, you've got to drive to the gym, you've got to get in, put your stuff away, you've got to start working out, then you've got to do the same and get home and get a shower, versus doing an extra 3,000 to 4,000 steps a day, which is about 30 to 40 minutes of movement. You can easily, and I mean easily, incorporate that into your day. Now, the best way I like to do this is through something called habit stacking, and this is where you take something you already do and you stack a new habit onto it. So really easy ways of doing this is, say you go and get groceries or you go to shops and you do that a couple of times a week. Now, always park at the back of the car park. You get an extra, 500 steps going in, 500 steps going out, and that adds up over the week. Say you get the train to work, you jump off a train station early and you walk that extra 20 minutes. On your lunchtime, after you've had your lunch, go for a walk, go for a 20-30 minute walk. That'll really help with digestion, stabilizing your blood sugar, but you'll get an extra 20-30 minutes of movement in. If you ever meet friends, typically for a coffee or a lunch, you can suggest, hey, why don't we go for a walk? Or why don't we get a coffee and go for a walk? Or have a walk and go for a coffee? It doesn't matter. You're just looking to incorporate more daily movement into your life. And over time, that just becomes part of what you do. And that makes it easy. Instead of your step count being 3,000 to 4,000 a day, now automatically your step count is 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 steps a day. Now, if you have a high daily step count, that means you're burning a lot more calories. It speeds up your metabolism, and if you're looking to lose fat, it means you're gonna be able to lose fat faster. And then when you get to your goal, it's actually gonna make weight maintenance easier because you're burning so many extra calories. Did you know there's a food that burns a ton of calories, helps you build muscle, and keeps you super full all the time? Can you guess what it is? It's protein. Now, protein is extremely satiating. If you're having a high protein diet or getting enough protein in your diet, you feel really full all the time. I recently also had a client say, hey, I've started eating 100 grams of protein a day, and I'm just like never hungry. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like the greatest fat loss hack of all time. Now, not only is protein extremely satiating, it also burns a ton of calories through a process called the thermic effect of food. And this is how many calories our bodies have to expend on digesting and utilizing that food. Now, for protein, it's somewhere between 20 to 30%. So that means if you have 100 calories from protein, 20 to 30 of those calories are literally being spent on the thermic effect of food. It also helps you maintain or build muscle while losing weight, because when we're losing weight, we actually want to maximize fat loss and hold on to as much muscle as we possibly can. It's amazing for your hair, skin, and nails. The amount of vegetarian and vegan clients I've had who have been having 20 to 30 grams of protein and then got up to 80 to 100, and they're like, my hair feels amazing, my nails feel so strong, my skin feels great. You need to be getting more protein in your diet, and most people aren't getting enough. Now, we recommend that you get around 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass. That's your total weight minus how much body fat you've got. You don't need to worry about trying to figure this out. We've got our calorie quiz, which you can take, links in the description. Next up is strength training. So I'm sure if you're watching this video, you've said before, I want to look toned. I want to have that nice lean look. You don't want to be, you know, skinny fat. Now, tone just means lose fat and build muscle. And if we want to make sure that we achieve a toned look, we need to make sure we're strength training, because it's the key to making sure that we lose fat and keep muscle. You've got to be working these muscles while you're losing fat. Now, when it comes to how much, you don't need to be doing 5-6 sessions a week in the gym or training at home, trying to train like a bodybuilder. Not at all. What I actually need to do is 2 sessions a week where you do full body strength training for 30 to 60 minutes. Now, the thing I have to get across here is that we've got to be challenging ourselves. No pink dumbbells, super light dumbbells, and doing high reps. We need to be lifting heavy weights. And probably one of the best ways you can do this is that your rep range wants to be likely somewhere between 6 and 12 reps. And those last couple of reps on your set, you should be pulling a funny face. It should be a struggle. And if it's not, you're likely lifting too light. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, aren't I gonna end up looking like, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger and have like these giant biceps? Like, no, it is not that easy to build muscle, but it's extremely important when we're looking to lose fat, not just weight. And honestly, like, you ladies are so much stronger than you already realize. The amount of women I've trained in person and I've gone, you need to go heavier. Like, we've doubled the weight or tripled the weight after a session or two, because you women are already so strong, like so strong. Like, you're picking up kids in a pram or in the car seat that weighs 60 pounds. You're taking the shopping in from the cars that weigh 40 pounds, but then we go to the gym and we pick up the pink 5-pound dumbbells. You are so much stronger than you realize. Lift the heavier weights. It is so important, not just to maximize fat loss, but for your overall health. More muscle is also going to mean that you're going to have a faster metabolism. So muscle is an active tissue. It requires more calories and energy at rest, and it requires more calories when being moved. Strength training is also really important for having strong bones. Now, if you're going through peri or even post-menopause, one thing that can happen here is that your bones can weaken and you can develop something called osteoporosis. Now, most people don't know they've got osteoporosis until they literally break a bone. And the best way to combat this, you guessed it, is to do strength training. Next up is fiber. Now, most people are not getting enough, and it is extremely satiating. What you'll notice with really high fiber foods is they typically tend to be whole foods. And you'll probably see a little bit of a pattern here. If we're having whole foods, we're really satiated. If we're getting enough protein, we're really satiated. If we're getting enough fiber, we're really satiated. And if you're not hungry, that's gonna make losing fat easy. And if it's easy, it makes sense that you're gonna be able to do it for a really long time and achieve the goals that you're looking for. Fiber also really helps in your digestion. Now, a lot of people don't like to talk about this. They've got IBS, or they feel bloated all the time, or you know, they're maybe like not going to the toilet regularly because we couldn't possibly talk about bowel movements. Having healthy bowel movements, having a healthy poo, is the sign of a healthy body. And most people are not having healthy bowel movements, and it's because they're not getting enough fiber. And trust me, if you've not been in the toilet for a couple of days and you feel like sluggish, like, I'm not surprised that's how you feel if you've not been in the toilet for a couple of days, but you likely need to be getting more fiber in your diet. So the recommended amount is 15 grams of fiber per 1,000 calories. Now, if you're asking what are some high fiber foods, well, lucky for you, the team are going to throw up a high fiber cheat sheet on the screen now that you can take a screenshot of. But basically, fruit, berries are amazing, raspberries are absolutely fantastic, veg and your whole grains are going to massively help get your fiber intake up. And we've got a juicy bonus to finish, because so many people need to hear this, which is consistency beats everything. So many people wait for the perfect time, which doesn't exist, or the perfect plan, which doesn't exist. Instead of just starting, you have to just start and take imperfect action. And what we say to our clients all the time is just get 1% better every single day. If you do this for a year, you'll be 37 times better in a year. That's the power of just taking action and taking small little steps forward every single day. Now, so many people will look at that and go, well, what's 1% better? That's not much. Like, and you'll go, oh, I've only lost a pound this week. If you lost a pound a week, every week for a whole year, you'll lose 52 pounds in a year. And so, like, most people watching this video haven't even got 52 pounds to lose, but like, they'll go, oh, a pound a week isn't that much. Like, your health isn't a 28-day or a 75-day challenge. You've got to take consistent action. It's something you have to continue to prioritize, because if you don't use it, you'll lose it. You have to build the muscle of consistency and get to a place, ultimately, where you become unconsciously competent. Now, you might be asking, like, what does that mean? What does unconscious competence mean? Well, I hope most people watching this video brush their teeth twice a day. Now, you don't wake up in the morning and go, I need to be motivated or I need to be disciplined to brush my teeth. You just automatically do it on a consistent basis. And that's where you need to get to with the things that we've spoken about in this video, with walking more, prioritizing protein, fiber, whole foods, doing strength training. Over time, if you just make that part of what you do day to day, what you do week to week, you will have achieved unconscious competence with your health. And not only are you going to be able to lose the weight that you've been looking for, but you're going to be able to maintain the results you've achieved. And that is ultimately what is key.